Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have our full breakdown / things that you might have missed in Andor episode 6 titled The Eye. This video is going to regard all different types of things with things that you might have missed throughout this episode, different Easter eggs and references, as well as our own thoughts and opinions and theories and predictions more or less kind of sprinkled throughout this video, so stay on the lookout for those there as well. And being completely upfront about this, I do say that this here is a video that talks about things that you might have missed or references or Easter eggs and that type of stuff in this episode. However, there just really isn't all that much going on with this episode. That doesn't make it a bad episode. There is a lot going on with this episode, just not in those regards of Easter eggs or references and those little tidbits of different types of things that you might have clicked on this video for. Instead, there is a lot other different newer type of stuff that goes on with this episode and really the overall Andor show as a whole at the same time as well. For one thing, having a high stake episode here, finally something that had been led up to or that had been built up to here for these last two episodes with episode 4 and 5 surrounding around these characters of the Aldani group that are on this mission to the garrison that Cassian has joined with, going by the codename of Clem, of course, that we have already known about. This overall episode is very, very fast-paced, and it matches perfectly aligned what is going on here with this overall episode at the same time. So really, in that sense, it just makes sense that it would be a fast-paced episode as well. So of course, this here, for one thing, has to be one of the better kind of storytelling episodes, I think, for overall Star Wars and the Star Wars shows. A lot of people have agreed with that they're calling that this not only the best Star Wars episode for Andor, but the best Star Wars episode period, that comparing that with the Book of Boba Fett or the Mandalorian or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Definitely, at least for when it comes to all the live action stuff that we have on Disney Plus. Now, in those terms and conditions and my thoughts and opinions, I think that's like a little bit of a stretch. It is definitely the best Andor episode. I think that's hands down on that kind of type of thing there. However, that doesn't go unnoticed that there are some iffy type of scenes here that might feel a little bit random thrown in here in this episode. This scene right here where we're taking a look at the officer and his group here is honestly random. It's thrown in there and I was like, why would they put this in here? And honestly, I think the explanation for that is because it's the overall point of this show is humanizing your characters. It takes a lot from Star Wars to Clone Wars really in those aspects. For one thing, this show is following those 3 episode arcs. So for our next 3 episodes here, episode 7, episode 8, and episode 9, we're going to be dealing with a whole kind of new storyline, much like we did for the first 3 episodes on the premiere of September 21st, and what we have also done for that the last 3 weeks with episode 4, 5, and 6. The same thing goes on for Star Wars: The Clone Wars, of where you're following alongside with these 3 episode arc episodes, and there's like a continuous kind of story regarding around these certain amount of characters type of thing that's going on with that. And this isn't the only thing that the show Andor draws from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and I would like to talk about this in a separate future video. However, not only does, well, the Star Wars: The Clone Wars show do that for one thing with episode arcs, but it does a great deal of humanizing your characters. You take clones, they're clones of a single person. They're not really meant to have all that much of identity or anything like that, but yet that's exactly what the Clone Wars show does, is that it humanizes those characters. And this here is what the Andor show is doing as well. It could be arguably even simply the point of the Andor show to even begin with. Not only that, but something else that a lot of Star Wars fans out there can agree with, and even non-Star Wars fans, because this show is geared towards, well, both of those types of communities, for diehard Star Wars fans and kind of just like non-Star Wars fans, people that aren't into it all that much. You don't even have to like really watch any Star Wars movies to really understand what's going on here, because you're dealing with all new characters and everything like that. Anyway, that is something that we have known about for quite some time. Another thing that this episode does a great deal of is being visually stunning. It looks like amazing, and that isn't just from the whole like meteor shower thing that's going on. Just a lot of stuff in this overall episode looks really great, but yes, arguably, yes, it's the meteor shower that really sells it for the visuals in this episode that make it look so stunning and so great and so just beautiful. Aside from that, when it comes to more storytelling concepts, a thing that this episode does quite a bit here with those regards of storytelling is that with your characters, yes, all of these characters are picked off kind of like one by one, and this is exactly symbolizing exactly what happened in the Star Wars Rogue One movie with all of those characters. And of course, already knowing that, the relevance to that is that Andor, Cassian Andor, was first introduced in 2016's Rogue One movie, despite that being, well, a sequel and this show being a prequel, kind of like how we had Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope be introduced in A New Hope. We saw his death scene and everything like that, but yet he is such a prominent character in the overall Star Wars universe, appearing later on as a Force ghost in the original movies and the original trilogy, and also in the prequels as a very key player and a key character, and of course, not to mention the Obi-Wan Kenobi show and everything like that there as well, and Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Anyway, trying not to get too sidetracked here, this episode does exactly what Rogue One does, is where you have a team team, and they all go into a dangerous mission type of thing, and they all kind of just get picked off one by one, and none of them really come out except for Vel and Cinta are the only survivors of this overall episode. So I'm beyond curious, are these characters going to be reappearing, whether it's in season 1 or season 2? Because we do know that there is going to be a season 2 of the Andor show. We're just gonna have to wait and see, but I kind of want to know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below in those regards. What do you guys think they're going to do with Cinta and Vel here in the Star Wars Andor show? Could they even pop up in a different Star Wars show? I think is something that could be arguably discussed at the same time as well. Aside from all that there's really all my theories and I guess thoughts and opinions and speculations and kind of just everything like that all in one go, all in one video. It's something that we're going to be continuing to talk about here throughout the rest of the week here and overall here on the channel regarding all the other different Star Wars news, leaks, rumors, and all that type of stuff that's also going on there. It's all the more reason to hit the subscribe button and join us here today on the channel if you haven't already. I want to know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. As I had already mentioned at the beginning of the video, there really isn't all that much of, you know, things that you might have missed or references or Easter eggs or anything like that going on in this episode. So I'm not going to overanalyze it or anything like that. I want to know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys all think, especially with that little bit of a twist at the end of the episode. Where do you think we're going to be seeing Cassian go next year in this next character arc? It's something that I'm just dying to know because we're really honestly left on a cliffhanger. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. As I had already mentioned several hundred times, I'd love to hear what you guys all think. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Have a great one, guys. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.